Narrated by Abu Hurairah. The Prophet said, "Whoever performs ablution should clean his nose with water by putting the water in it and then blowing it out, and whoever cleans his private parts with stones should do it with odd number of stones." Narrated by Abu Hurairah. Allah's Messenger said, "If any one of you performs ablution, he should put water in his nose and then blow it out, and whoever cleans his private parts with stones should do so with odd numbers. And whoever wakes up from his sleep should wash his hands before putting them in the water for ablution, because nobody knows where his hands were during sleep." Narrated by Abdullah bin Amr. The Prophet remained behind us on a journey. He joined us while we were performing ablution for the Asr prayer, which was overdue, and we were just passing with hands over our feet, not washing them thoroughly, so he addressed us in a loud voice saying twice, "Save your heels from the fire." Narrated by Humran. The freed slave of Uthman bin Affan. I saw Uthman bin Affan asking for a tumbler of water to perform ablution, and when it was brought, he poured water from it over his hands and washed them thrice, and then put his right hand in the water container and rinsed his mouth and washed his nose by putting water in it and then blowing it out. Then he washed his face thrice and, then, forearms up to the elbows thrice, then passed his wet hands over his head and then washed each foot thrice. After that Uthman said, "I saw the Prophet performing ablution like this of mine, and he said, if anyone performs ablution like that of mine and offers a 2-rakat prayer during which he does not think of anything else, not related to the present prayer, then his past sins will be forgiven." Narrated by Muhammad ibn Ziyad. I heard Abu Hurairah saying as he passed by us while the people were performing ablution from a utensil containing water, "Perform ablution perfectly and thoroughly for Abul Qasim." The Prophet said, "Save your heels from the hellfire." Narrated by Ubad ibn Jurai. I asked Abdullah bin Umar, "O Abu Abdurrahman, I saw you doing 4 things which I never saw being done by any one of you companions." Abdullah bin Umar said, "What are those, O Ibn Jurai?" I said, "I never saw you touching any corner of the Kaaba except these 2, facing south, Yemen, and I saw you wearing shoes made of tanned leather and dyeing your hair with henna, a kind of red dye. I also noticed that whenever you were in Mecca, the people assume Ihram on seeing the new moon crescent, first of Dhul Hijjah, while you did not assume the Ihram. Ihram is also called Ilal, which means loud calling, because a Muhrim has to recite Talbiyah aloud when assuming the state of Ihram, till the 8th of Dhul Hijjah, day of Tarwiyah." Abdullah replied, "Regarding the corners of Kaaba, I never saw Allah's Messenger touching except those facing south, Yemen, and regarding the tanned leather shoes, no doubt I saw Allah's Messenger wearing non-hairy shoes, and he used to perform ablution while wearing the shoes, i.e. wash his feet and then put on the shoes. So I love to wear similar shoes. And about the dyeing of hair with henna, no doubt I saw Allah's Messenger dyeing his hair with it, and that is why I like to dye my hair with it. Regarding Ilal, I did not see Allah's Messenger assuming Ilal till he set out for Hajj, on the 8th of Dhul Hijjah." Narrated by Amatiyah. That the Prophet, at the time of washing his deceased daughter, had said to them, "Start from the right side, beginning with those parts which are washed in ablution." Narrated by Aisha. The Prophet used to like to start from the right side on wearing shoes, combing his hair and cleaning or washing himself, and on doing anything else. Narrated by Anas bin Malik. Saw Allah's Messenger when the Asr prayer was due and the people searched for water to perform ablution, but they could not find it. Later on, a pot full of water for ablution was brought to Allah's Apostle. He put his hand in that pot and ordered the people to perform ablution from it. I saw the water springing out from underneath his fingers till all of them performed the ablution. It was one of the miracles of the Prophet. Narrated by Ibn Sirin. I said to Abida, "I have some of the hair of the Prophet, which I got from Anas or from his family." Abida replied, "No doubt if I had a single hair of that, it would have been dearer to me than the whole world and whatever is in it." Narrated by Anas. When Allah's Messenger got his head shaved, Abu Talha was the first to take some of his hair. Narrated by Abu Hurairah. Allah's Messenger said, "If a dog drinks from the utensil of any one of you, it is essential to wash it 7 times. Narrated by Abu Hurairah. The Prophet said, "A man saw a dog eating mud from the severity of thirst. So, that man took a shoe, and filled it with water and kept on pouring the water for the dog till it quenched its thirst. So Allah approved of his deed and made him to enter paradise. And narrated by Hamza bin Abdullah. My father said, during the lifetime of Allah's apostle, the dogs used to urinate, and pass through the mosques, come and go, nevertheless they never used to sprinkle water on it urine of the dog. Narrated by Adi bin Hatim. I asked the Prophet about the hunting dogs, and he replied, if you let loose, with Allah's name, your tamed dog after a game and it hunts it, you may eat it, but if the dog eats of that game, then do not eat it because the dog has hunted it for itself. I further said, sometimes I send my dog for hunting and find another dog with it. He said, do not eat the game for you have mentioned Allah's name only on sending your dog and not the other dog. Narrated by Abu Hurairah. Allah's Messenger said, a person is considered in prayer as long as he is waiting for the prayer in the mosque as long as he does not do hadath. A non-Arab man asked, O Abu Hurairah, what is hadath? I replied, it is the passing of wind, from the anus that is one of the types of hadath. Narrated by Abad bin Tamim. My uncle said, the Prophet said, one should not leave his prayer unless he hears sound or smells something.